The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that he's a big opera fan. I know this because several years ago, he sent me some photos of himself backstage at the Czech Opera House. He was milling about the orchestra pit in his sports coat and bow tie, and having his picture made in the wings with the lead soprano. I was delighted. I've had a modest but sustaining interest in opera myself for many years. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that it's not true. He doesn't know or care about the difference between a tenor and a tessitura. The opera was, of course, just one of his many college student European capers, and a red herring leading me to incorrect ideas about his personality.
The first thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she just returned from a trip and it threw off our recording schedule. We were meant to record yesterday, but her flight was delayed so that she didn't get home until 3 in the morning on the day we were meant to record. The next thing you should know is that the flight delay was karma. The last time Mrs. Filholm traveled, she received 2 extra paid days on Maui. Unfortunately, those extra days on Maui used up all of Mrs. Filholm's good travel karma that she had coming her way. Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world.
Yeah, I guess. It wasn't bad. It was 2 hours delayed because there was a storm in Seattle, and I knew I was coming in late, and then that agonizingly lateness of it. And here's the other thing. I, for the first time in my life, took an Uber from the airport. I took a Lyft because I thought, I'm coming in at 11:30.
Yeah, you don't want to try to...
It's kind of a big ask to have someone come and drive. Like, for you to come and drive to the airport is so long and such a scene. If I ever asked for an airport pickup, which I might, I would at least think, do you want to come in for a beer or a conversation? You know what I mean? That's a late night, like, just drop me off, everybody go to bed. I thought about asking my son George, and I just knew, because every time I've flown lately, something gets jacked up. I went, that sucks to then be on the hook until 12:30, and indeed it was past 1:30 when we got him. So I took a Lyft, and that just made it longer. You know, getting home, I had to wait, It was fine. It wasn't the end of the world. It just made me really tired.
I spend a lot of time thinking about when I want to leave my house to go on a trip and when I want to come back home from the trip. That's
me too.
I really obsess over it, and it's one of those things I hate having. I guess when I was a little bit poorer, I'd always go for the cheapest flight regardless, and that's just the worst idea.
Isn't that funny now?
You shouldn't do that.
I know you get to be a little bit of a grown-up and you've traveled a little bit and you realize, okay, $50 American is so worth not the red eye.
Right, and it's worth it because you don't have to get someone to take you to the airport in the morning. You don't have to, I don't know, you're going to get $50 worth of, you're going to be in $50 worth of agony.
Totally right.
If you go for the cheap flight.
Totally right. And I did a lot of that this time. I even paid a little bit more for not super economy, super basement, brown level economy. I went for
the brown reading group?
Exactly. I spent, $50 to go, you can have a seat beforehand and you're not boarding last. And I just went, yeah, no, that is worth it to me because I know what happens when you board last. That carry-on luggage becomes not carry-on luggage. And then I'm traveling. I've come to think that maybe I'm not a very good traveler and I need to reassess. And I'm not kidding because last time I checked a bag, because some airlines kind of force you into that. Some airlines don't. The last time I checked a bag, the bag did not arrive when I arrived.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh, that sucks. Rocks. It's so bad. So I go, all right. It sucks rocks. Sucks rocks. That really is awful. And so then I go, all right, then you take on your carry-on kit, you take everything you need for a night. I get it. I mean, I do understand that. I don't know, the whole thing. And like you're saying, when I leave, and I thought this trip was planned pretty well. I flew out in the morning. So Tal took me to the airport very early, but he was happy to go because he was going into work really early and it's kind of close to his work. So Tal said he would take me and it was really nice. So that was kind of a bonus. It was a pretty early in the morning, but also I don't mind Ubering from here. I'm pretty close to the airport. That's not an expensive Uber ride, to tell you the truth. It's not bad. So then this one should have been perfect. I get in at 11:15 at night on a Friday night. Perfect for me. Like I said, I'm cool to take an Uber. Was it Friday? Yeah, I got in on Friday. And that was a time that it should have been convenient for my aunt and uncle to drive me to the airport because I could have avoided rush hour traffic. And I was saying to them, let's just go a little bit early. I'm happy to sit in the airport and do some work. I actually worked quite a lot while I was gone, and I had stuff to look at on my computer. We ended up not doing that and actually sitting in quite a bit of rush hour traffic. But I do the same thing. Like, I try to avoid ugly recovery days for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Maui is hard because almost all flights leaving Maui to the mainland are red-eye kind of flights.
That's
Seriously.
by design?
Yeah, I think. Whatever. It must be winds or, seriously, air traffic. I have no idea. And it's probably not true from Honolulu. And you can do that. You can hop over to Honolulu. But that was one that I really tried not to do that red-eye. I mean, on Maui, it's tempting because you go all day. You go to the last minute. You go to the airport, just sleep on the plane. More and more at my old age, I'm not sleeping well on planes. Bummer. I used to sleep well on planes.
My hack right now that I try to incorporate, and I don't always succeed, is I like to get back on a Saturday, so I've got all day Sunday to do nothing and recover.
That's such a good hack. We learned that as a family when we go on trips. That's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Even a Friday, sometimes if you're going for the whole week, it is so brilliant. Yes, to have a recovery day before. I need a travel hack. All of my clothes are black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I do a lot of things like rolling, and I didn't actually use travel cubes, rolling my clothes.
Oh,
up,
yeah. Okay.
so that I can see sort of, what it is. I didn't use travel cubes. I understand that could help a bit. But the truth is, every time, and I moved around a lot. For a week, I was staying in a few different places.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I open, I can't tell what's what. Everything's black.
Yeah.
And a suitcase lining is black. I mean, I'm not kidding. I don't
you need
know.
a different color suitcase.
I guess.
Or you need some colored bits of tape to
That's what
wrap
I wonder.
your rolls in, or
That's what I wonder. Do I literally label my clothes? Maybe. Put a note, this is that black tank top?
I like to, when I get to a hotel, I take the dry cleaning bag, and that becomes my dirty clothes bag.
Yep.
So when something gets worn and I know I'm not going to wear it again, it goes right in that bag.
That I get.
So it gets easier as you get further along your trip because you've got fewer and fewer options.
Agreed.
I don't know.
That's
know
a weird
what to do
one.
about black
And
stuff.
it's kind of specific to me because I'm not kidding. You look in my suitcase and go, oh, no, I see what you mean. It's all black and it's all sort of similar material. I mean,
So you kind of have to unpack it and unroll it to see what it is.
This is my thing.
Yeah.
And I understand that most people would say, then what you do, how I packed for my kids when they were little, I was a big clear plastic gallon bag, Ziploc bag person.
Yeah.
Because for a toddler, you can pack shorts, t-shirt, little socks, and
You can put a whole outfit in
undies.
a gallon bag.
Yep, exactly. Put the whole outfit and there it is, and you pull it out, and that's what you're wearing today. That is a way that I could actually dress, like skirt, top, thing. That's not how I live. I do wake up in a mood, or I want to wear this or that. I do wear things again on vacation. I mean, definitely. I'm going to, I'll take 3 skirts for 8 days, do a little laundry along the way. So, anyway, God, how boring. But I'm not kidding. If anybody out there can help me hack this, I even started to look up sort of smart travel solutions, and it's all about travel cubes, which I get. But like I said, I'm kind of already doing that in my suitcase. I do section. I do put things in bags. Like all my tights are here.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, but I literally have to unroll them to see which is the footed tight and which is the not footed tight.
Something I do is I try to get everything into a backpack. And if it doesn't all fit in the backpack, then it doesn't get to go. And the backpack is nice because it can go in overhead storage, or it also fits underneath the seat in front of you. So you never wind up in that situation where you don't have your stuff. But that process of getting a week's worth of clothing into a backpack, especially if you want to bring other stuff like a laptop or your camera, is something that's got to be ruthless. But ultimately, I get to the end and this thing is packed. And in order for me to pack it and unpack it, it's not a big lift.
You're right.
I can take everything out, spread it out, and put it back in 5 minutes.
When I go to Maui, I do that naturally because I know I'm not even going to wear clothes while I'm there. And so I have gotten ruthless about literally, like, I can go with this one under the seat bag. Seriously. And then my fins are big and I got to deal with those. And those I don't want to check because I want to be able to get into the water. I don't want those to go missing. But I can see that. And I have done that. The problem is for me, it's winter. We were doing a variety of things. I had clothes prepared for a nice dinner that I thought we were going to. I could have gotten away with that. I could have worn that bugs me less. It was running shoes and extra boots. But again, I think that the hack is you hang your running shoes on the outside of that backpack. Because I was walking. I'm trying to walk an hour a day, right? And I walked a lot in Washington because I was in safe neighborhoods. So it was good. Yeah, but I feel like I gained 30 pounds because you know what else I did?
Eating and walking, you came out net neutral.
I don't think I did. I feel like a big beached whale. Okay, so you are right about the packing thing. And that's what I was going to say, that the ultimate hack to me, where my brain goes, instead of mitigating it with travel cubes and different tapes and different color-coded systems, is going exactly like in my life. I think I need to purge again. I think
Yeah.
in my life I need to purge again. I think I need less in my life. I don't know why I need more than 5 black tank tops.
You need to call the junk man.
I do. I don't even need to because there's not that much stuff because I keep purging and I live in the dollhouse. But I think it's about, and seasons are changing. I think I'd kind of do this. God, what was that? The listeners didn't hear it.
That was my Google Assistant. I wonder what we said that caused it to go off. What it thought it heard.
Oh, that was like your Siri?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. My Siri, every time I say seriously. Not every time. It often goes. Okay, so there you go, packing hack. I think that what it comes down to is I got to go even more ham on the Skort project and get real serious about my outfits for the winter, my uniform, because when it comes down to it, I wear practically the same thing every single day. I did notice while I was thinking that and going through my closet, about a year ago, we started mucking around with this podcast, and I remember saying to you, I have this one shirt that is kind of at its end, and if I could find 5 more of this shirt, I would buy them because it was my go-to shirt and I had to kill it. I think I shrunk out of it. I had lost weight. And I have had a shirt for the past year that now it's like it has pulled threads and it's the same thing. I've had that shirt for a year. And if I could have 5 of that shirt, I think I would be happy to wear it just about every day of my life. Can't find it again. So now I know. And so I am on this I am kind of on a weird bent all the time of looking for the perfect black tank top, basically, like shell, that fits without hugging me too much, but not too big, and is the right length. Oh my God, it's a constant thing. Anyway, I did walk a lot on my vacation. I ate so much food. I ate like a king because all of my family was there to love me up, and they fed me and fed me and fed me, and I was with people that I love, and I wasn't mad about having to eat.
You've got problems with eating alone, and that was not an issue there.
No. And I have problems with like not wanting to stop my grind of working on something, but I wasn't grinding. I did a lot of work up there because stuff is happening, which is fun. I booked some jobs, I booked some meetings, I booked my book launch party. I book launch. But it was at a real casual pace. It was like wake up when you want, take a nice long walk. Seattle, it was just a show off. It was so beautiful.
I bet it's pretty right
now. My God. I drove that Jeep. I'll show you a picture of the size of me versus the size of the Jeep that I drove.
It's quite a large Jeep.
Oh, my God. It's hilarious. I mean.
Is that lifted or something?
Mm-hmm. No, big wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I was 3/4 of the way over the pass, and Uncle Dusty texted me and said, oh, by the way, you're going faster than you think because the speedometer reads it's 10%, add 10%. Because of the size of the
wheels. Yeah.
And then he said, so if you're going 40, you're going 44. If it says 40, you're going 44. And I went, I'm not going 44. I've been going 70 in this giant rig. Then I got him the Cube yesterday, my first day back, and it was real confusing to not drive with the stick shift.
Yeah.
I kept wanting, like, God, what am I supposed to be doing? Which is funny because the whole time I was driving, it was like, I can't do this. I could not drive a stick shift. I don't know what these people are thinking. My cousins who were like, you should get a Jeep. You'd be really cute in a Jeep. It'd be cool in a Jeep. I was like, I can't. This is agonizing, driving this stick shift. But then it became second nature within 1 week, right? That's funny how your body adjusts. And then I came back and my car felt weird. Anyway, I had a great time. How was your week?
It was great. I'm trying to think. I've done a lot of stuff since I last saw you. I decided to take off Friday, and I rode my motorcycle to Rocky Mountain National Park.
By yourself?
With my brother. He was in his car. And then...
Did you see elk?
Yeah, we did see elk. We saw some elk in Estes Park. And Estes Park is one of those places. The elk just lay in the middle of the town.
I know, they're like squirrels.
Mm-hmm. They kind of are. They're a nuisance. They probably eat the flowers.
But they do.
And then we had a little dinner party with some friends of ours who have a 6-month-old baby.
Oh, cute and fun.
Mm-hmm.
How's that baby?
He was asleep almost the whole time we were there, which is good. He's doing a good job of sleeping through the night. I understand he goes to bed around 7 and sleeps until like 5:30 in the morning. So he's doing some. And
those are the glory days when the parents can go out and have a dinner and the baby just sleeps there and everybody's safe and cozy. It's so nice.
Mm-hmm. It is nice, and that's what the dad was saying is, when you get your baby, you're very concerned about leaving it unattended and that sort of thing. And they're to the point now where if they put the baby in the crib, they're good for like a couple hours to do something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Got the baby monitor on just in case.
It's a safe spot.
Totally. Oh, that's nice. Did you make them dinner?
We went and picked up some takeaway and had it at their house.
Oh, nice.
It was delightful.
Nice. That's cute.
And I always like talking to this guy because he's a pilot.
You mentioned him.
He works for a little regional airline. And since we've known him, he got this job. He was a flight instructor before, and now he's a pilot. And it's so much fun to talk to him about this stuff because I've always wanted to be a pilot. I'm like, the way George wants to be an architect, I want to be a pilot.
Right. That's George Costanza, not George Filholm, just to be clear. Requisite Seinfeld. Hey, I know you have, and I thought about you because guess what I saw? I saw two things that you're going to be interested in. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You know how the 737 planes are grounded because of problems?
Are those the Max ones? The Boeing something Max?
Correct. I saw one of the places in the world where they are being stored.
Oh, yeah?
So hundreds upon hundreds of 737s from every country. You can't go in there. It's a lockdown situation. But from where you can drive, you can see country names. You can see airlines I've never heard of before. I'll show you the picture. It is cool. A field of grounded airplanes.
Are these being kept at the Boeing place, or are they at SeaTac?
They're being kept in Moses Lake, Washington at their airport.
That's so cool.
And it's a Boeing rental facility. They're paying. Boeing is renting places evidently around the world to do that. And then they're going to retrofit them and whatever. And it's a whole thing. And they all have generators underneath them.
What a costly mistake.
Dude, you see that. That's what it looks like. The Boeing graveyard. Okay. Second thing.
The Boeing graveyard of brand new planes.
Right. And they all have generators underneath them because they have to, I guess, stay sort of in power and not just whatever, like let the rats come and chew out the chairs, I guess. So that's interesting. Second thing I saw, same town where they do have a lot of aviation history, military history, flying history. In 6th grade in Moses Lake, Washington, we all got to go on a free Japan Airlines flight, like all 6th graders in Moses Lake at the time for many, many years. I guess
in Colorado, it's a ski pass.
Yeah, right, exactly. I got to go on one flight and look at the Grand Coulee Dam. Cool. It was cool. Because we're with our friends. The other thing that they have there right now is Mitsubishi has this gigantic. You know how impressed I am by the size of things, like hangars and boats. They have this giant facility, and the cars parked in front. Like I was just going. Also, I don't know who this is in me, but going, wow, this is a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs are being created right here. Mitsubishi has a new airplane of some fancy kind, and they are testing it there. And so they have a lot of Japanese people that Mitsubishi has brought in, and then people from all over. So they have this huge workforce there, and they are literally testing, like by flying it, and then also inside those big hangars doing all kinds of testing of some fancy new plane. We could probably look it up. That was cool.
That is cool. I love that.
Jeez, you would love it.
Aviation just excites me.
You would be so excited. And then it's right near the campus of Big Bend Community College, where my father was the very first student to ever register at that college.
Oh, really?
I just learned this week that my father was the first person to win an athletic competition at Big Bend Community College. He was in the first class, and it was a wrestling tournament, and so whatever, the few guys before his weight class, whatever, lost. So my dad won his match, and so technically that's the first my Uncle John.
The first win they ever had.
And so, and my Uncle John was national champion, junior college national champion when he went to Big Bend wrestling. So like the family has a lot of history there, a lot of history, and still a lot of lanes are involved. But they have a lot of aviation there, and they have this thing. I was sending pictures to my son George. It's community college, but they have some new degree in Mechatronics, which includes, I think.
What's Mechatronics?
I don't really know. George took a Mechatronics class, and it's an engineering thing, and it's a real thing, even though it sounds like a movie.
It does. It sounds
I think it has to do with robotics. And so what? Okay, I shouldn't have said it because I don't know. Are you looking it up?
Oh, Mechatronics?
Probably.
I thought it was Mega M-E-G-A.
I did too.
I think it's Mechatronics.
Also what I thought. I'm sure it's Mechatronics because it's mechanical engineering.
Yeah, it's kind of the integration of mechanical and electrical.
Cool.
Engineering.
So that makes sense because what they're doing here is two different things. And I saw they have this huge thing that looks like a batting cage, but like huge, or a driving range. It's a drone cage.
A drone cage?
Dude, that's where it's a drone batting cage. So it's this huge netted in thing where they go and test drone stuff. So there's a degree in mechatronics, which includes, somehow it's included this drone stuff and then medical robots. They're doing a lot of that there. Point being, Andrew, there was a lot of aviation, including drone gym. That seems cool.
I think the drone thing is really interesting to me because we've had electric engines for so long, electric motors, and drones just came along in the last, however long.
We've had remote control, like toy helicopters for so long, right?
The tricky part, I suppose, was the batteries. Is having a battery that's light enough that can be lifted.
Really fly that way, yeah. And then even the camera stuff, which to me seems the most applicable because that's what I'm always interested in, is the Can you come and take pictures of me announcing an event? And all the applications for it, right? It certainly became about cameras. I know. I've always thought that because when I kept hearing about drones, and then I looked at them, I was like, what do you mean? That's like the remote control little helicopter my brother got every year for Christmas for $15 and then it would break, right? I mean, that's what they seem to be. I thought the same thing. But obviously that's not true. It's wickedly cool technology. I like how I can see here in the reflection of our sound shield between us how my Botox has worn off. And so this scar right here is it's bad.
When was the last time you Botoxed?
Months and months ago. I'm way past the time because I don't have a job. So Botox goes way down that scale.
I mean, people can refer back to the recordings, but at the time, I thought that Botox was you get it once and it's done. But
yes,
it's definitely a subscription like a magazine.
Oh, yeah. I've made jokes about that. It's like freaking Dollar Shave Club. It's a subscription service.
It's like Dollar Shave Club, except it's more like
it's poison in your face.
$400.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like that. Like $400 every 3 months is what they would like me to be doing. Not good. I can't. I mean, that's seriously, that is way down on my hierarchy of needs, which is unfortunate because also I'm single and out there. It's problematic, but I'm just seeing it. I did see amongst the Lane family that had come by these 11s in my brow real naturally.
Honestly? You can buy them honestly?
But the men, nobody cares if men have 11s in their foreheads. Okay, I don't want to talk about that.
Everybody has 11s in their foreheads, don't they?
Nope.
Old people?
Not everybody. Everybody ages in a different way, Andrew.
Is there a cool name for those, like crow's feet? Is there?
Yeah, they call them the 11s. They call them the frowners. I said that at Comedy Works because they make you look angry all the time, and I am angry all the time, but I don't want people to know that.
So you've come by them honestly twice now.
Fuck yeah.
Not only is it natural and genetic, but you're also cranky.
Darn it.
You're just miserable.
So they call them the 11s. They call them the frowners. There's all kinds of words. The ski tracks is what I call them down my face. These ones on the mouth, on the outside of your mouth, they call the parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
It is so disheartening to talk about it and to look at your face and
why does it bother you so much?
I don't know. And I didn't think it would. And I'm sorry it does. I'm not kidding, Andrew. And last night, a young girlfriend of mine, I was looking at a picture of me smiling and I have all these straight up and down lines in my cheeks. I go, oh my God, I can't stand it. Geez, I'm looking like my mom, and my mom really wrinkled that way, and holy shit, what am I going to do about that? And she said she is 34, tender age of 34, and she said, what do you mean? Those are your smile lines. That's what makes you look happy. Mm-hmm. And I actually went, I can believe what you are saying, because I remember being younger and having older friends, and particularly they were worried about the crow's feet, the wrinkles on the side of their eyes. I remember a specific friend who I always thought was very beautiful, and when she smiled, she would get these crow's feet, and she would complain. And I was like, what do you mean? They make your smile look like they're accent marks to me. Like it's what makes you look sparkly when you smile. Mm-hmm. And she's going, fuck you. There are these wrinkles that I didn't used to have when I was young and fresh. And so I can kind of see it that a young person is like, why does it bother you? Who cares? I don't know. Part of it is actually looking in the mirror or looking at a photograph and going, oh my God, I don't recognize that. Ew, it's hard.
I think the thing I notice about Botox is when people have, what do you call it, when their face doesn't
resting Botox face, frozen,
right.
Cro-Magnon
frozen.
brow,
when their face is frozen,
face.
and you expect them to have a smile or whatever, and it just comes out as I think it's much better to have those than to not have those. It's worse when you don't have them.
But when I had mine, you will admit you barely knew the difference. But these lines were not there as much, and it wasn't. Right, and that's the slippery slope. Is once you start taking away those wrinkles, then I'm going to go. Well, then these ones on my thing, and then you're going to get frozen face. Dude, I don't know. I swore against it long ago. I did enjoy the effects of the Botox. It didn't make me look permanently surprised.
You didn't enjoy the effects of the Botox because you were like, it's not working.
For a little bit, but then I stopped talking about it because it did work and I felt way better about it. And I make jokes about it. Comedy. I'm pretty sure I could hold the business card in my head again. Maybe I'll do that for Clean Comedy Night. Maybe we'll include frickin' party tricks with my face. Maybe I will. Botox doesn't seem to be that funny. Yeah, there we go.
Maybe in the Comedy Works South Club it's more funny because there's more Botox
I just think that people have done it. I think people have done Botox jokes too much.
Overdone?
I think so. I think, and it's the same with Alzheimer's. Like people like to point out, well, you could do jokes about how you were writing jokes about Alzheimer's disease, but you forgot them. I'm like, yeah. And that's literally the joke I'm not going to make because it's been made. Did you see what I just did there? I stuck a piece of paper in that crease again. I've got the face party trick.
That's such a weird...
I'm doing Kegel exercises with
That's such a weird thing to be concerned about.
Okay. I don't think it is, Andrew. But I understand to a 25-year-old man, it surely is.
I can hold a business card with my face. Well, why are you even putting business cards near your face?
Because someone told me that I might be able to do it. Marnie, I think, recommended that to me, and I went, no, oh my God. Okay, all right.
Keep business cards away from your face, and you don't have to think about it.
Not true. I wanted to talk this week about some things, including my request, Andrew, is can we talk about shit we know about? Or at least can make
it's a much smaller
about?
subset of things we can talk about.
I know it. I have an idea.
I thought we actually came out, our hot take, knowing nothing about the California wildfires.
We were right on.
Turned out to be exactly what was going on.
I know. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, and same with recycling.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but who needs to listen to our hot take? Okay, I have one thing to tell you. I asked you if you looked at my Instagram overnight, and you didn't, which is good, because then it can be, you can feel the full force of the news. Yesterday, I had been home a few hours. I went to the market to get some groceries, because I'm going to try to eat healthy food, and I came into the house and saw a mouse in my kitchen.
Ooh, just chowing down? What was he doing in there?
Running away from me. He saw me and he ran into an obvious hole. Mm-hmm.
He looked at her. He says, guys, I found a lady. She can hold a business card in her face. We do not want to fuck with her.
Good. I hope he tells his friends to stay away. Dude, this aggression cannot stand, okay? This dude cannot abide.
Not abide?
I will not abide a mouse in my house. I have never for 22 years had a mouse in that house. As you will recall, I had sometimes in my studio, and I knew they were in the garage. And all of that outside, I don't like it in my studio, but I sort of made my peace. Kitchen, no, bruh. No, I can't. So I walked in, I saw the mouse, I screamed, I did that, and then I sort of had to steel myself for a minute and go, oh no. And I had girlfriends coming over in 1.5 hours, and I was like on this thing. I had bought flowers, I was going to put in a vase, I was going to get ready. I turned around, walked out, locked the door, and drove to Ace Hardware and got all of the things.
Oh, yeah.
Got mouse traps. I got mouse repellent. I got those. I believe in those things that you plug in and they send out.
Yeah, like the ultrasonic.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a dog whistle for mice.
Yeah, it's like what kids used to do in the high school classroom. Did you do that? You probably did. Did you do that to your teachers?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the thing was that you guys couldn't hear it, right?
No, I know. They would play that really, really high pitch, and then they would all be sort of cracking up because I would continue to lecture and write, diagram sentences on the board and shit, try to talk to you about literary conventions, and then they would all be cracking. She can't hear it, and it's like that's not even funny. Oh, I wonder.
10 years later, I wonder if I've still
probably the level. It's gonna your spectrum will decrease, but also it's like that's not that funny. That's just what happens. Anyway, that's okay.
It was just a fad. It was like eating Tide Pods. It came and went in the matter of
It was a very fun way to fuck with your teacher, so I understand that and appreciate it. That was just one where I was like, you guys, that's real dumb. Okay, so I put in 6 of those Mousinator repellent supersonic.
Yeah, the Mousinator.
I call them the
I like that name. That's not their brand name.
Oh, no. I think one year I bought one and it was called something 2000 and it was past the year 2000. That was funny. And it was not called the Mousinator, but I always just called it the Mousinator 2000. And they didn't have that brand anymore. But I bought 6 of those small ones, put them in every room of the dollhouse so they're beeping out noises. Oh my God. I've got the peppermint, all the repellent spray. I set 5 traps. I am not getting poisoned because my great fear is that then where will they go to die? Will they come into the warmth of my house to die? I don't want to deal with freaking rotting mouse carcasses. So I haven't done poison yet. I caught one mouse. My girls and I went out to get tattoos. As a matter of fact, we came back and
girls
there was
and you
a
went
mouse.
out to get tattoos.
Got some ink.
Also in order to intimidate the mice, huh? Let them know you're.
Came back looking like a war criminal, like a pirate. So you better back off, mouse. So I killed one. Fuck! I had to get rid of it. I stood there in the aisle at the hardware store going. First of all, have you been in a pest control aisle lately in any kind of store?
Mm-mm.
It's
have
really
they
gross.
Changed in 10 years?
No, just the visceral feeling of standing there because you go, okay, mouse control, poison, this, traps, and then it goes rats, voles, moles, all the icky things, and I hate it. And I was standing there going, I want to get poisoned because I want them all dead. I get so like a terrorist about these mice. I had this in New York City. We had mice because we live in New York City. So then we got to the point, my friend Kevin and I, my roommate, we got to the point where we actually reused traps. He would dump the mice and put it in again.
Traps.
Not a fan. How I get rid of the mouse is this makes me feel again like a girl living alone. That's such a blue job. I did it in New York City. I know I can do it, and I am doing it. You never have one mouse, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
So I caught one. Then I went and spent the night at my friend's house, not because I was afraid of the mice, but it was pretty convenient. I did not want to sleep there with mice. I hate them. I hate them. I am a big baby. So I came back and I set 5 other traps overnight, and they're all undisturbed. And also I have all of the repellent and those sonar
That's right.
going off. So maybe they're going to stay away. I am going to call an exterminator and pay cash money to have a guy come and plug up the holes in this house. I can't live with mice. I can't do it.
I think that's probably not a great investment because there's always going to be something.
They
that
will
the mouse finds that he
I
didn't
know.
find.
No, I know. No, Terminators. Is that what they're called?
Terminators. Arnold Schwarzeneggers know where the mouse holes are.
Kind of how I felt. They really can't, dude. Seriously, like the plumber guy came in and pointed out that like some of the plumbing and they did a lot of the work on this house themselves, and it's like fine, but there's janky. The hole in the floor that this mouse came through is a hole in the floor.
You know where he came from?
Oh, I saw it disappear into. Mm-hmm. So no, I think that again, I think if I had a husband, he would walk around. It does help to put steel wool in the holes. It does. I understand that mice will always be here. You don't have to live with them in your house. You don't. You can control that. I will. I am calling a professional.
My garage at my house. My brother is very concerned. There are definitely mice in the garage, and he doesn't want the mice climbing into the air conditioning unit on the car,
or they eat upholstery.
Yeah.
My cousin had a very nice car. I can't
Totally
remember because I'm
ruined by
colorblind.
mice.
Ruined. She parked it out on the farm when she married a farmer, and no shit, her upholstery got eaten by mice. Hey, Annette, she's listening right now. I'm not kidding. Mice.
So my garage is a killing field. There's traps everywhere.
That's how I am.
Some of them have dead mice in them, and they get checked probably weekly. So
it's good to leave the dead mice lying in there.
Mm-hmm. And that seems like a good enough solution is to have the traps and kill a mouse every couple of months.
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised I found only one in that night. I'm not kidding. I mean, you just and the other thing that I know from frickin' experience is that Kim Dreiling and I once made the killing fields of mice, and we sat like in the dusk and waited because in previous nights they had been coming out like brazenly, like flipping us the bird as they picked up the crumbs under the counters. I mean, we would throw pillows. It was a beautiful house. I should bleep who that friend was. She probably doesn't appreciate that. Was years ago. The mice are gone. Anyway, and then we put up all the different kinds of traps. Like we got every kind of trap and all the new ones. And again, I was standing in the aisle there looking at all the stuff and going, I know what I have to do, which is when they say you can't make a better mouse trap, they're not kidding. All of the ones that say like, no see, no touch, they just go in here and die. I swear to God, in that experiment that Kim and I launched years ago, the mice left alone all of the new traps. The only ones that work are those wooden traps with peanut butter in them. Give me a break. I know. So that is the solution is everyone. That's how I lived at the old house. I was like in my studio. I just knew they were there. I kept traps. Also, I don't have an animal here, so that's nice. I can leave the traps wherever and I can
What
put
about
poison.
that? You had a cat that was visiting you over the summer.
He just came over yesterday. I've named him Derek. He's so nice. I thought about that. I asked him, are you a mouser? Because if he is, he can come inside. But like, I don't want him inside for a long time. Cat hair.
Maybe you just need to yell at him a little bit. What I've been seeing rodents around. Why have you not been killing these?
It's a good
A
point.
little pep talk.
That's true. He can get them in the yard before they come in, right?
That's right.
He should
He's
be
your
my
first-
parameter protect. Yeah.
He's your first line of defense.
First line of defense. I got to talk to him about that for real. Because what he does now is he comes over and he really did. My girlfriend's met him last night and he just goes, Mah! He really chirps at you. And if you touch him, he melts into you and he wants to come inside my house so badly. He stands at the front door and goes, what's in there? He's really cute, but I don't want him in my house. I don't want cat hair. I hugged a lot of cats and dogs when I was up in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I started to like these cats. But they weren't like Whiskers. They were like cuddly.
Yeah.
Cuddly. Like sat on your lap and actually brought your blood pressure down. Plus, at my Uncle Bobby's house, I held a tiny little kitten the size of my 2 hands. And I totally made it into my baby. Like I held it like a little baby and made its little arms crossed. And all of my cousins were like, you're going to get a cat. I did sort of appreciate the personality. I can't believe it. I was enjoying the personality of a few cats.
Yeah.
And dogs that I met. But no, the hair, I can't abide. This aggression will not stand. So I am
Especially
doing
with
the killing
your black
field.
outfits.
Exactly freaking right. Black outfits and all white bedding. You can't win either way. So I am running the killing fields of mice right now out in my garbage that you just passed with your motorcycle. It's the night of the living dead mouse because there's dead mouse in that garbage can. I hate it so much, Andrew. And I really, it's funny. Do you hate mice that much, like in a visceral level?
I I don't have to deal with it right now. I'm on the 4th floor of an apartment building. I remember at my fraternity house, I was on the 2nd floor, and we had a mouse come into our room, and I bought some traps, and I set them up, and I killed it. I kind of like the project of having mice to kill.
Jesus Christ. See, that's where I'm saying there might be, this is making me feel more single and alone, because that might be, I don't want to normalize any part of gender, but I feel like my mother, and then the girlfriends I was with last night, we talked about it, like, is that from our mothers, which is from their mothers, which is mice in your house makes you feel ashamed. It really does. It feels like I'm dirty, I'm poor. It makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. That's stupid. Mice are everywhere, you know. I mean, and the nicest homes get mice, and the nicest restaurants certainly are full of mice. I've seen that. I get it. And yet there is some visceral thing. And also it's the tail, I think. Yuck.
The tail is gross.
I think. Because if a little tiny bird had hopped into my kitchen, I would have been like, oh, but I would have thought it was cute or like a blessing, right? A good omen.
Well, I think it's also a little bit funny because you lived with a massive snakeskin in your house as a decoration for years, right?
That didn't bother me that much. That was dead and a skin.
Why are snakes less scary than mice?
In real life, they're not. If I saw a snake in my house, I would be moving out. I will kiss a spider on the mouth, but I don't abide a mouse. A snake, I wouldn't like a snake. But right, if I saw little garter snakes in my yard and I trusted they were harmless and not in my house, I think I would freak out less. That's also visceral. I think that's visceral to the point that, like, that's why it's in the Bible. Like, humans have a icky response, a lizard
mice?
braid response to reptiles, to snaky things.
Yeah.
And I don't know about mice. That's what I'm wondering. Maybe not everybody does. Some people like mice.
Maybe there aren't a lot of mice in Nazareth.
Maybe not. There definitely are.
Maybe it never
rodents.
came up.
Andrew, there's rodents everywhere. Not on Maui. No, yes, there are mice. There's no snakes. There's no snakes in Hawaii. Like some people like mice. Lenny in that book.
Of Mice and Men.
Yes. That's the mice in of Mice and Men. He puts a little mouse in his pocket. It's his
We've
little
talked
pet.
about crushing the bunny.
Right. Which is really a mouse. But right. So some people like mice enough to have them as pets, and I think they think they're cute. I think they wig me out. And like I said, but it comes down to, like, some part of it is shameful. I know my mother used to be, like, she would stand up on a chair if she saw a mouse and scream. And we lived in a plantation house on Maui surrounded by pineapple fields. So same thing. There just were mice. You just have to not have them in your kitchen. And there is a fear that they'll run all over me when I'm sleeping. I don't think they will. Or bite me. I literally think they'll leave a human being alone sleeping, but I don't know. Yuck. Maybe they won't. Oh, God. Okay. So I'm going to do the killing fields. I am hiring an exterminator. I don't care what you say. I feel very single and alone. And this is the kind of stuff that I pay for nowadays, is handymen to do certain things and exterminators to come. And just believe me, he will do a more expert job than I will of finding, I think they do know those holes, where they are, and to plug them up. And then I'm real curious about my crawl space. How come they wouldn't live down there and come up into my house? That's what I said when I had a crawl space. Like, this seems not great. And everybody said, no, it's fine. Your crawl space is great. They don't come there. Okay, great. I need that. I'm going to hire an exterminator. Dale Gribble. Get on over here. Isn't he the exterminator one?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about? King of the Hill?
Oh, is that what that's from? Dale
That's
Gribble?
not Dale Gribble. Is he? Yeah, I think he's the
don't know.
exterminator. He's the one with the big old
That's
bug.
a name I recognize.
Dale Gribble. I think that's King of the Hill. Gosh, that's an old pull. Okay, so that is what I saw.
You're right. That is King of the Hill.
So I'm fighting off mice, and I'm going to call Dale Gribble the exterminator. And on my way to the dollhouse yesterday, I saw a fracas. I saw lights and sirens. I saw cop cars. I saw that we had to go around a lane. And then what I saw, and clearly the accident had been cleared out because there were no people there, Andrew, but I saw a really, really mangled motorcycle on its side. Yeah. Mrs. Filholm doesn't like that.
No, nobody
My
likes
heart
that.
leapt and sunk because it wasn't you. Oh, I just didn't like that. I also saw, not on the way to the dollhouse, but on the way, I'm going to show you this picture too, in Moses Lake, Washington. Andrew, I saw a full pickup on fire.
Ooh.
I almost sent it to you from there because I
that
knew you would
exciting?
like it, just like you did right there. Yeah, it was exciting. And like when I worked for CDOT.
Was there a person in it?
No.
Okay,
Again,
so we can
cleared out.
say how cool it is,
Oh,
right?
It was fascinating. In fact, again, the people must have been cleared out, and there wasn't even an emergency vehicle. There was some vehicle there.
Just leave it to burn out.
Yes. I'm not kidding. It was leaving to burn out, and there was some vehicle there, but it was more like a Department of Transportation vehicle. It wasn't, there were not engines there with hoses or anything, and clearly the people had been removed from the situation. It was just sitting there on the side of the road, fully on fire, like a Saturday Night Live skit. Like in CDOT, we used to tell people, listen, semis don't jackknife very often. Well, I actually do. But, cars don't tend to roll over. A rolled car is really unusual, and cars don't just generally light on fire. Oh, well, this one was on fire. I mean, fully engulfed in flames. Yeah, it was cool. I should have stopped and gotten video because it would have been like good B-roll for something. But I was driving and I went, oh my God, a car on fire. So that is apropos of nothing. But yeah, it was kind of interesting to see. And clearly no one was hurt. But that pickup was done. Gone.
Yeah, that seems like a bad day. That sounds like an insurance claim.
So I told you about how I was driving that big Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousins
Do you
told
like that?
me,
Do you like, you spent a week driving a Jeep. Do you like the Jeep?
yeah, like I said, I kind of thought, no, hell no. Like, seriously, I would injure myself getting out of it. I did. I have a bruise because I kept hitting my arm. I would have to have a little drop. It's so big. But I did kind of like it.
But
Yeah,
like a
it was
normal
fun.
sized Jeep. Would you like a normal sized Jeep?
I guess. I mean, people were concerned. Like, they're like, it's not a good highway vehicle. It's not comfortable on the highway at 70 miles an hour. I'm like, I drive the Cube. I'm not used to a comfortable car. I don't know. Smooth rides in cars kind of freak me out. Like, are we moving? Yeah, it was fun. It was hilarious. It was fun. I mean, I don't care, right? I don't really care what I'm driving. It was fun. It was bumpy at certain places. What was fun is that people notice that car everywhere you go. And this is my point. My cousins had told me, you're going to get attention from men. And I went, yeah. And it reminded me of your motorcycle.
That's right.
That one time that middle-aged guy walked in when I wasn't single. And I remember thinking, if I was ever single, my God, Andrew, wingman me. But here's what I learned. That's a bad plan. Because yes, men, every time I stopped and got out of that Jeep, definitely came up and talked to me. They were not looking at me. They wanted to know all about that Jeep. And once I went, I don't know, it's my uncle's. I don't know what that bar is for. I don't know. They would go, oh, all right. And then they would just look at the Jeep. So it's not a good way to meet men at all. They just want your Jeep. That's funny.
She just likes me for my body.
Right.
Do you think that's what the Larry the Cable Guy character says in Cars. She just likes me for my body.
Right. That's what it was like. Okay. So there's that. I do have a question for you, a topic. Did you have anything like follow up or what you saw on the way of the dollhouse?
What I saw on the way to the dollhouse today is extremely windy. And
Jeez.
on a motorcycle, wind is it's a little unnerving. I'm constantly nervous that I'm going to catch a gust and it's going to blow me right over.
Oh, Andrew, do you think it could?
I think it could.
Oh, I hate that.
I think it could. But
It's really windy.
It is really windy. Right now, the motorcycle is protected by your nice sturdy fence from the wind.
Did you lock it? Did you see where the padlock was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I did
great.
lock it.
Good job.
As you know, people who listen know that we're very concerned about security here. You have an armory, for Christ's sake.
I was checking my camera the whole time I was gone. It would be like I would be sitting at dinner with my cousins or at a college football game, and I would get an alert: someone detected an alley.
What kind of tools in the armory do you have for mouse extermination? I feel like you should make an example out of one. You should, like when they used to catch pirates and they'd hang them at the entry to the bay or whatever.
And we're like hanging them in the town square. Well, that's what I'm saying. Your brother in the garage there, that's the best idea, is just leave them in the traps. Mm-hmm. This is what happens here in the killing fields. No, and the truth is, do you think this studio isn't going to be, geez Louise, I'm going to have to mouse-proof this thing and that shed. Oh, God.
There are going to be mice in here for sure.
For sure.
But you said your last house you had mice in your studio area, and it didn't seem to bother you there. Would it bother you here more than it would there?
No, exact same amount. I was just kind of like, could we just agree to not see each other? And
right, you guys keep to the corners and the dark spots.
Because I wrote my book out there, and that was kind of where I went to not bother my family when sit there and concentrate on my crap. And I remember, especially writing, doing pottery back there too, but especially writing, just like my one fear was just like I didn't want to be back there barefoot because what if they ran over my feet? Whatever. And when I saw one, I just kind of, So, yeah, it's same with here. I understand they're going to be in a garage and in a studio. I just don't want to see much evidence. And I also understand don't leave any food out here. And I didn't. One time in my old house, I was drying tiles. And one thing that is very helpful for drying tiles and keeping them flat is you lay weighted stuff on top of them, like rice. Bags of rice and beans is really helpful for that.
Sure. Mouse food.
Mouse food. They went, and I went, oh, God. So then I went 2 bags of sand. So stuff like that is fine. I guess, I know they're going to be out here. I can understand in the studio if we get to that level of like before, like, let's just not see each other. I understand this is outside, kind of. I don't love it. In my house, I seriously,
too close to home.
Literally. And my little West Portico, anyway, whatever. Oh, God. And then I was gone for this whole week. fall happened. We talked about it last time we recorded. We had that snowstorm, so of course it froze everything. So now I've got leaves falling, and my garden is literally everything died over the last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's now brown, and I have to put the whole yard to bed here pretty soon.
My brother and his fiance went to a pumpkin patch yesterday, only to discover that all their pumpkins had been frozen and were no good.
Oh, at the pumpkin patch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no kidding. What a bummer.
That is a bummer.
Huh. That's weird, because that happens in the Halloween season. You'd think they'd have a way to cover them and protect them.
I guess I don't know the situation, but I'm sure they're all out in the field. Can you imagine individually dressing 300 pumpkins?
Well, it reminds me of like in...
Very cute.
Right.
Little scarf and a jacket.
Little hat. I mean, yeah, keeping fields warm, like in California and Florida, sometimes if it's really cold, they have to, they put torches out in the citrus groves. I've done it with my clay back in the day. I would have too much clay and it would freeze it. I would have a heater on it, like babying it like a crop over the winter or something. All right, got anything else? Because I have a topic, finally.
Ooh, hit me with a topic.
You said weeks ago, something, we were talking about communication, and you said that you generally don't respond to text messages because they don't seem mission critical. You personally defined that as, or described that as, because you work via email, you think of your phone as an email machine. I think that is probably kind of rare for your generation. They don't seem to want to communicate via email.
Mm-hmm.
But that struck a chord with me because I have noticed it in myself. You don't answer texts, and sometimes I wonder if...
There's not a good way to save a text for later. Like I'll look at it and I'll be doing something with my hands, or maybe I'm driving or whatever, and there's no... I mean, even just trying to mark it as unread.
Yep.
Maybe that's a good way to save it for later, but there's not an excellent way to put that into a queue somewhere that says this is something that needs to be handled.
That's a good point, and I certainly do that all the time, and then you look back and go, oh my God, I forgot to answer you, or I've had a text.
It happens to everybody.
Okay, that is a different story, though, than I don't really respond to texts very much because they're not mission critical. The teenagers, okay, so here's the reason I'm asking, is that many, many parents have asked me over the years, and including in the past week, what the heck is the deal with our kids? Why do we only get crickets? And we get that with our boys. We can send texts that they do not respond to. Sometimes it's direct questions that we don't hear answers to. Sometimes it's stuff like we'll say something nice, like happy birthday or whatever. That was, in fact, what was happening. That's why the question kind of re-entered my mind, is a dad was saying, it's my son's 18th birthday. Look at the things I texted him today. Nice little things. He goes, crickets. Like literally, I just sent him a meme of crickets. Like, it's not that hard to... especially in the now day and age of responding to a text, which is one finger push.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get it. And I kind of get it, and I kind of forgive my kids, and I tell my mom and their dad, like, listen, George that's not going to get back to you. I can't tell you why. Probably it's that. A lot of times I think he sees it on his Apple Watch and goes, okay, yeah, I should respond to Mom. Not right now. And it goes away. What's going on? I mean, are texts, is that a thing in your generation that texts are not, I don't get it. Is there something going on there? Because parents need to know they are getting very salty about their kids not responding at all. And then my point is, should we ask kids, should we lay down some rules? Like, while I'm paying for that phone, you have to respond even just a thumbs up within an hour so that I know you're alive, or also just because it's rude. Or do we meet them where they are, and the better way to get a hold of our kids is on Snapchat?
I don't think either are good options.
All right.
I think if you need something, give them a phone call.
Interesting.
One thing my parents do, mostly my father, is he'll put us all in a group chat and he'll say something. Uh-huh. And when I'm in a group chat, this is the same with like reply all sort of emails. Uh-huh. I stay right out of it.
Feel no need. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you need something from me specifically, ask me specifically. And if you expect a response and you're perturbed by not getting a response, first try calling. And if you don't feel like calling, give them something that says, please respond.
Okay, that I get. And that is where kids would be, even if it was a text. If we say, can you come over at 3:00 today to help me, whatever, or to have dinner? That is just plain rude if the kid doesn't respond at all, right? I mean, and if he doesn't, you figure he did miss it, you can call if you want a thing or an actual response, like a yes or a no. That's a little bit different than like the kind of texts that we know people send to each other. It's not just parents sending happy birthday.
Just because you can put yourself in my phone at any hour of the day doesn't necessarily mean that I have to respond to you at any hour of the day.
Okay.
Like yesterday, I saw news that one of my friends from high school got engaged, and we were pretty close. I sent him a message. He didn't respond for a day, and that's fine. I don't have any expectation that is something that he will respond to or that he should respond to.
Who was it? Tell me later.
Taylor Wilson.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
I know him. I taught him in 9th grade and 12th grade. Well,
Mhm.
that's cute. Okay, so, all right. But I sort of appreciate that, too. I send you a message that doesn't...
expectations, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's at least in an email, Merlin Mann trick that I use all the time is if I need something from you, that's in the first line of the email, and I say so. And
Shortest possible email to garner a yes.
And text messages are often not that. It's not I need something from you. It's, hey, how are you? Great to hear from you. Oh, by the way, can you do this stuff? And that doesn't actually make it into the notification that I see, because if you put your ask too far down in the text message, I'm not going to see it in the alert.
Right.
So there's some of that, but at the same time, I don't know. I was listening to another one of the podcasts, and John Siracusa has, I think, teenage boys and girls. And he said they don't like to take their phone with them. And he likes them to take their phone so that they've got the GPS tracking and they can figure out where these people are. But there's not I don't know. I feel like we're the new and exciting thing about phones and everybody wanting to have the newest phone all the time and have it on their person 24/7 is starting to wear off. I don't know.
No kidding. Young kids don't want to take their phones?
That's what he said. He said his kids never want to take their phone. And I don't know if they're unusual.
Right.
Or if that's a trend.
I don't know any young people who don't want their phones. I don't know any young people who don't have their heads buried in their phones most of the time, right?
Most of the time when my phone buzzes, it's more of an annoyance than it is a exciting thing. It's it's something I have to deal with. It's a little tiny pinprick that I don't want to, that's someone from work asking for something. It's I don't know. It's a
yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I talked last week, at which I sound like the worst person on the planet, about how annoying it was last year to get so many messages on my birthday. Oh, wah. My golden yacht is caught in the rainbow waterfall. People love me so much, but it became, and I was working and working, and it just
your golden yacht, the little
yacht.
thing, yacht. I thought you were talking about the thing people used to read the Torah. That little finger thing's called a yacht.
That's where you went? That's funny. Okay, well,
yeah,
that works.
Misheard.
It works. My golden yacht is caught in the... That's fine, too.
Because is a golden yacht like a silver spoon? He was
probably
born with a golden yacht in his hand.
And then he got stuck in the rainbow
L'chaim.
waterfall. L'chaim to life. Mazel tov. Okay, gosh darn it, Andrew. No, my point is that I get that I do understand that even when it's people I love who are asking, can we go out to dinner soon, it's like a little prick. I get it, right? That thing. I don't believe that our teenagers are just so focused on their task in life that, of course it is that they are focused. They're focused on their game playing or they're talking with friends or whatever they're doing. So that's part of it. It's like, Mom, stop bugging me.
It's also a personality thing. I have the way I feel about things, but Delaney is super on top of that stuff. She gets a message and she responds to it. And
she does?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to start texting her a lot more then, because I appreciate the just response in general right now, because I'm a lonely, bitter person. So I just need fucking response from the universe.
Affirmation.
Sure do. All right. Well, then Delaney's my girl. I'm doing it. That is why I have these girlfriends. We do that Marco Polo video chat all day long. I mean, and it's too maniacal. It can't sustain into the rest of our lives. But it is sort of we do need affirmation right now, and thanks for being there for every moment of my life. And then I feel like if we keep it amongst ourselves, the rest of the world doesn't have to deal with it. Okay, that is part of it. Also, the medium is a message. Like you were saying, don't use a text, or if you use a text for something very specific, can you meet me at 6 to do this? Put it in the top part of the text, because the alerts.
If you've got a mission critical thing that you need a response to in the next hour, you need to make a phone call.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. The other thing is that what you were saying is that emails tend to be more direct, like a more direct ask and all of that, and texts tend to be more how you doing.
If you want to make it on someone's calendar, it's got to be an email, because the tools for turning an email into a calendar event
true.
are a lot better than the tools for turning a text message into a calendar event.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It's possible. Oh God, I hate the update on the phone. Oh my God, I hate it. Holy crap! And I was up there in Washington. There was mixed reviews. Most of the people my generation hate the update to this phone. The younger people were interested in it because it does things like, who was showing me that? Because it does things like you can turn your face into a giraffe. Like it has Snapchat style filters. Oh my God, not what I need from my phone. Holy bananas. Okay. The other thing is that what I don't understand about text messages is that in my experience, there is room for so much gray area. I mean, we know that about email. It's hard to express tone in email, but I get a lot of texts from people where I'm not sure is that an invitation to do something, or is that you're telling me what you're doing today? Do you know what I mean? Is that kind of thing? Or does that seems like a statement, or like, hey, are you around? Are you home? I'm not sure I want to answer that. Are you getting ready to rob me? You know what I mean?
I've got
That's
a
like
friend,
weird.
and it infuriates me when he invites me to something by saying, "What are you doing Friday?"
Yeah.
And it's like, no. You got to tell me what you'd like me to do Friday before I tell you what I'm doing
correct.
Friday.
Same. Are you home? Depends on who's asking.
Right.
I know, but that's also just like that's Emily Post polite. That's been a known thing for generations. The much nicer ask is, instead of saying, "Are you free on Friday?" say, "I have tickets to a ball game on Friday. Would you like to be my date?" That's a different ask. Okay, that's a totally different story. I just don't believe that the young people are going to communicate best via email. You're telling me?
No, they're not. If you're trying to get a hold of your son or daughter and you're frustrated that they're not responding, call them.
And
there's not a societal expectation, I don't think, that text messages must be responded to.
That's interesting. And they probably believe that. 22-year-old, 18-year-old probably just think text messages are gravy. That's not mission critical ever. I find that hard to believe because I feel like that is how they communicate with their
Maybe that's just something I'm telling myself.
Maybe. No, maybe.
I
believe
don't
it
have
might
to
be
feel bad
generational.
because I just decided text messages don't count.
You're just on bankruptcy on that one?
That's right.
No, I don't know. I'm actually curious about that. I don't know because it does seem to be a theme. I mean, seriously, a lot of parents, I have had parents over the years even reach out like, hey, is it too much to expect that, when I send my son or daughter a text message, at least like things like, God, and one time it was like, I sent my stepdaughter how beautiful she looked in her homecoming pictures and zero response. And I'm like, well, yeah, I could see from the stepdaughter's point of view, like, okay, I mean, not mission critical, no response needed. But the stepmother is very much wounded, like you didn't respond to this nice thing I did. So I think between parents and kids, you can have a discussion. Seriously, as long as I'm paying for that phone, this is our expectation. You can ask that of your
That
kids.
you say thank you for my dress compliments?
Yes. That you respond to my text messages, even with the thumbs up. You can press one button and you can give me a thumb because I want to know that you've read it.
That seems more of a parent problem than a child problem.
It is. I am admitting it's a parent problem. Parents are wonky about that.
Back to the podcast that we listened to.
The podcast.
Merlin Mann says that his daughter is now, she's in middle school. She's walking to school by herself. Yeah. He's leaving her at home alone occasionally. She's growing up. And he said that just as much as setting expectations and ground rules for her, the daughter, he has to set ground rules and expectations of himself and his wife.
Totally.
Because it's very much, he's training himself and his wife to be comfortable in this situation and to deal with it. And I think that the same is probably true of text messages and expectations. Yeah. Is are your expectations one, realistic? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. And two, have those been communicated to the person who's letting you down?
Oh, totally right. And I heard that him talking about that, and it was beautiful because really what he was getting at is we are setting up our expectations. We are preparing ourselves and understanding this stuff because ultimately what we are getting ready to do is let her go. Mm-hmm. And that's such a beautiful thing for parents to remind themselves from the day you bring that baby home. The actual job you're working on is getting them out, getting them out on their own. That's the end of it. It never ends. But I mean, truly, and it's very hard. I see a lot of people posting a lot of times about, the time is going too fast, like as their babies grow up. And that always just bumps me a little bit. I don't know why. I think
you're getting closer to the goal. It should be a celebratory.
Yeah, I think so. That's it. I think so. It's like, what do you mean? The time is going exactly at the rate the time goes, and every bit of it is good, and you're getting right. Your baby can walk now. Hooray! Look at that.
The next step.
Right. I do kind of think that, but I'm sure I mean, listen, lately I sit around and pine for the good old days when they were cute and everybody got along. But Okay, so that, like building the expectations for yourself and being realistic about them. He has also talked about, and I love it so much, it's part of my book, is like detaching from your expectations of your child in middle school, in high school. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think that's a big one. And that's part of it. And I also have observed lately, for some reason, I've been sort of adjacent to a lot of conversations, sometimes between the parent and child, and sometimes the parent is telling me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's asking for my advice exactly, but my advice is they kind of are. Parents lecturing their kids, parents worried about their kids' direction, lack of direction. I have been here and I've written a book about it. Senior in high school, it's October. Why are you not applying for college, right? Freshman in high school, why are you not taking the classes that are going to get you to college? Why do you sit on your ass and play video games? Okay, whatever it may be, disappointment with the path, the direction this kid is taking in life. And our instinct as parents is to lecture them a lot, is to model for them behavior, is to tell them, the way I handled this, what I did when I was, and I can see, and even if I'm not in the room, I can feel the deep, deep eye roll of those children going, oh, the one, you know what you're doing? You're really crushing the bunny, I think, when you're giving, hey, kid, you're disappointing me right now because you're sitting on your ass. Here's what I did when I was your age to get out of that situation or whatever. Oh, my God.
What are you supposed to do? What's the answer? What's the advice?
Here's what I think. I think one thing is economy of language. You get in and you get out. If you do have to keep giving your kid advice, you do have to keep telling your kid whatever. Maybe it's, I am worried about you and I worry when you're gone that you are not okay, so I do need a text response, whatever. But you get in and you get out. You don't carry on and carry on. Parents, it's so hard to do. It's so hard for all of us, but very good classroom teachers are good at that. They know that you're going to have to give this direction 3 different times, but you need to give it, get out.
I think what you did there is also interesting because you explained yourself. You explained where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about you when you're out of the house because of this reason or whatever. Which is nice and makes it feel less arbitrary, perhaps.
Well, and that's the second. That's part of it. But like one is get in, get out when you're giving them advice because you're going to, and you do want to give them advice, and it's valuable to say, "Hey, when I was your age, I did this job, and I really learned from it."
And it was uphill both ways.
Exactly, and that's it. You have to understand that their ears are always hearing it as that uphill both ways. Blah blah blah. Ginger. So. But you're not going to stop giving advice. That's really bad to abdicate your responsibility. Get in, say your nugget of truth, and get out and let it sit there. Second thing there is, that's right, make expectations clear and explain whatever. And sometimes, often with a kid, the reason you have ask yourself about expectations. And that's what I'm sort of saying. Do we have unrealistic expectation about our children's willingness to text back and forth with us? Yes, perhaps we have. And like I was saying, I wrote down on my note to myself here, is it about meeting them where they are? And I mean, you said, no, you're not supposed to Snapchat them. But to some degree, it is about meeting them where they are. They are putting more of themselves on Snapchat today, my children, or right now on Instagram stories. They're putting more of themselves out there. If I want to know what they're doing, if I want to know what's going on in their lives, I got to find them where they are. They're not into text. But if for whatever reason, as parents, we set a boundary because of a lot of reasons we set boundaries, and it's our job to hold those boundaries as much as they hate them. If for whatever reason, whether it's safety, or even if you just go, hey, kiddo, this is my thing. I'm going to text you twice a day, and I need to know you got that text, and I'm paying for that phone. Expectation is I get a thumbs up back. Mm-hmm. Then you can negotiate when that child breaks that. Then you can fight that boundary if you want. That does not seem like a hill I would be willing to die on. And that's also with parenting. You choose those battles, right? And so if it's something like that's kind of what I have done with my own children is realize they do not respond to texts in a way that satisfies me. Not a hill I'm willing to die on. I, in fact, have defended them, like I said, to my own mother, to people like they just don't. Andrew doesn't respond to texts all the time. Especially when
gold standard, gold standard son.
Exactly. Our favorite son in the community. By the way, I didn't text you this, but I meant to, because why would I text it? You're not going to read it. You're not going to respond in a way that is fulfilling to me. A lot of people up there in the Pacific Northwest were like so happy to see me. Seriously, it was come out. I saw so many people, cousins, and so many of them said, okay, next time bring Andrew. I heard that more than once, young man.
It's so flattering. I love it.
We need to make a Seattle trip, I guess. We also have some podcasting friends up there that we think are our friends. We should hook up with them. Okay, so that's what I think parents do is when you feel the urge to give advice, especially about your own journey, get in, get out. You shouldn't stop talking to them, but you should not belabor that, especially when you see them physically. You can see a 15 to 18-year-old young man, girls too, cringing,
Mhm.
rolling eyes, shrinking, hiding, checking out of this conversation in every bodily way possible, getting it out, make your point and leave. They are programmed to not accept advice from the people who are most interested in giving them advice. Right? I mean, you
Yeah.
and I have talked about that a lot. They are literally,
It's got to
they
come
are,
from somewhere else in order for them to hear it.
and it's going to.
Which is why the village is so important.
That's right. Exactly right. And so that's the other thing that you do about that in these situations with parents, you ask, is you watch their mentors, you make sure they have a good mentorship. Hopefully you have friends who will report on your kids, if they're truly in trouble. And you kind of know the adults and other people who have influences in their lives. You see that. And then you also have to get, I think you have to get right with this is going to be a part of their lives where they are literally, it's their job, right? We know that. It's their job to pull away. It is just sometimes so unpleasant. It is often so unpleasant. And I just see parents, and lately it's been fathers. It's interesting to me, just kind of like, but I'm trying to make this connection, and they're rejecting every connection. They're rejecting my advice. I have also known parents, when I was writing my first book, Beyond Mama Bear, I had many parents tell me, ha, 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 that's all cute and adorable. Wait until they're in their 20s. And I don't think there's a full follow-up book there. Maybe we're not out of it even close yet. But it is interesting because in their 20s, it becomes literally not your job to call the principal, you know what I mean? To call a teacher to see how they're doing. You can't call their college and find out about their grades. You can't, unless, we made our kids our kids were happy to give us access to their medical records because they don't want to make doctor appointments for themselves as much as possible, mommy. But, you know what I mean? Officially, legally, you don't have as much access. And so then you watch your children. I've said it many times. You watch your kid walking a particular path and you go, oh my God, right ahead. I can see, man. I can see from my own experience and my experience on this planet of watching other people. You are about to step into a pit of vipers. I'm asking you, if you turn a little bit right, take this turn in Albuquerque, you're gonna avoid that. And you know that 20-somethings have to actually walk through that pit of vipers themselves because you can't learn from other people's experience, in some visceral ways. You can't. You have to learn your own lessons on this planet. And that is so hard for so many of us parents. Literally and especially it's hard when you watch them make mistakes that feel very familiar. Like, I did that. Let me prevent your adolescence from being as miserable as mine. Can't. You're preventing it in many ways, or you're helping them get through it because you're recognizing that and give them the freedom. There's many, many ways to make it better for them. I believe that. I do. I think parents can make a difference. But boy, one of the places I think that we stray from being helpful to our kids is over-lecturing, over-involved, and thinking that if we push harder, they will hear these lessons better. They won't. They will start rebelling in, I think, usually deeper and deeper ways. It's funny. So I've been watching that. And part of it came from this conversation of parents going, why the hell? They won't text me back. Part of that is lower your expectations or be realistic about it or talk with them about why is that. I think that if you could get a kid who could talk enough about it, he might come up with the same, or she might come up with the same thing you just said.
It's like not malicious.
Yeah, right. What do you mean? I don't check my text. I saw it on my watch and not mission critical. Whatever. I was at the gym. I was in class. Right? I was with friends. Why would I? You said that I had a nice dress. Great. Yeah. You said I had a nice dress on. Great. Whatever. And that often I think is when the parents are reaching out with something like, hey, you're great. And then they don't hear anything back. Or, hey, here's a funny thing, and they don't hear anything. Whatever. I don't know. I think that really has been something that parents, I think, want to hear about lately. And to me, it is all tied into that. Yeah. Have realistic expectations. And if there is a reason you need to be in communication with them, ask them, right? Set the boundaries and set the expectations. And also probably as they grow up, realize they naturally want less and less communication with us.
Yeah, just
okay.
because I think that's what I was trying to say earlier is just because my mom can be in my pocket all day. Like she doesn't want to. She has to be mindful of that privilege and not abuse it, and not how's your day going every day at lunchtime sort of thing. And then my mom's not the kind of lady who does.
No, but
I know some are.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
I know that there are parents. When I was in school, even some people who would text their parents in college constantly throughout the day, and that's asking too much. While I'm supposed to be growing and developing and learning new things and interacting with other people, the idea that I have to respond to inquiries about my day when I'm supposed to be off at college.
That's so good, Andrew. And you know what the truth is? I don't want to throw shade at some people. I have many friends whose daughters and sons stay in touch with them many times throughout the day, and it seems fun and light, and they just like each other more than we do. But yeah. Think about that. When I was in college, I literally called home on Sundays. That was the expectation. Every Sunday, I must call. Once a week, I called home, and maybe we talked for half an hour about my day and my life. And yeah. So think about that. I was off at college, and oh my God, my parents had no idea what I was doing. And that was...
It's probably for the best for everyone.
For real. We've talked about it. I don't want to know about your crazy European adventures. I am sure that I am getting, a filtered version of Augie's life. Happy to get that filtered version right now. If he is truly in trouble, I want to know if there's something I can do to help. And other than that, I would prefer to probably not know. Yeah, that is an interesting thing, right? There has been until this technology, built-in understanding that when you go away from home, you're going away from home. We used to write letters.
Freedom.
Built-in freedom and independence. Built-in make your own mistakes. Built-in the idea that so here's the thing that I think is most of us are conscious of. Hey, what would my parents think about this decision I'm making, right? And sometimes there's a great freedom of oh my God, my mom would freak out if she saw me getting this tattoo right now, right? There's a little bit of that, and that's healthy. Because your mom and your dad and your village are in your head, and they're supposed to be there, right? That's the moral tribunal that keeps you on the straight and narrow even when they're not there. That seems more healthy to me than checking in with mom every minute of the day and having... That's interesting to me, and I can see it. That is helpful from the generational perspective. Just because my mom has the ability to be in my phone doesn't mean she should. It's
just because she can see the outfit I wore last night doesn't mean that... She should, I don't know.
No, you're right. I kind of like it. It's just as a mother, of course, I go, I'm not, what? But you're right. That is a
It's kind of like you said,
much.
Economy of language. If you're going to make a compliment, if you're going to ask about the day, don't do it so often that it loses its meaning.
I think that's right. And I got to say something else. I heard this, I'm going to fictionalize this a little bit, but I heard this story from a guy who's my age and even a little bit older who said that his mother, to this day, asks him about his job, we'll say as a realtor, and he's got some goals to meet. How many houses is he selling a month or whatever? And mom will call him almost every day and go, how's your goal? How close are you to your goal? And I am sure from a mother's perspective that is being interested in my son's life. And probably she thinks she's being supportive. And the son to this minute feels that as my mother is pressuring me. I don't want to tell her. What if I didn't meet my goals? I'll tell you at the end. I'll tell you when my goals are met. I don't need to be checking in with you along the way, judgy McJudgerson. Right? I mean, that's interesting. That's somebody my age who is still receiving that motherly, daily inquiry as a burden, as truly. And I went, oh, well, from a mother's point of view, I could see just how's it going? You meeting your goals? How many boxes of cookies did you sell today, son? And the son is going, this is my jam. So that's interesting. See, I think we've helped people intergenerationally right there.
I think so.
Andrew.
It took us a while to get there. We spent a lot of time on mice and wind blowing, but I think we really helped a lot of people.
Well, that's all. And I'm glad it doesn't. See, this is a general area where I feel like I don't know much and I'm not informed. I have a lot of questions, but I don't feel totally stupid talking about it like I do about the last topics. I just prefer to talk about things that maybe are more knowable through our discussion.
Perhaps. Yeah, we can actually offer something of value here, I suppose.
We really can, and we really do.
Well, it was great seeing you, Mrs.
We
Filholm.
bring the ruckus, don't we, though?
Sure do. Always
okay.
do.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye, Mrs. Filholm.